and pause the music. So again, thank you all for being here today. I'll reiterate, this is our Coyotes Connect Next Step session. My name is Jonathan Gonzalez Montelongo. I use he, him pronouns. I'm the Visitor Services and Events Coordinator in our Campus Tours and Visitor Center. Thank you all for joining us today. We are going to, if you allow me to do a CSUSB land acknowledgement before we get started, if you allow me to read this to you all. So we recognize that our California State University, San Bernardino, sits on the territory and ancestral land of the San Manuel Band of Mission Indians, Yahaviatam. We recognize that every member of the California State University San Bernardino community has benefited and continues to benefit from the use and occupation of this land since the institution's founding in 1965. Consistent with our values of community and diversity, we have a responsibility to acknowledge and make visible the university's relationship to Native peoples. By offering this land acknowledgement, we're affirming Indigenous sovereignty and will work to hold Cal State San Bernardino more accountable to the needs of American Indian and Indigenous peoples. Thank you all for allowing me to read that land acknowledgement. Very quickly, this is what our agenda will consist of for today. So we'll have admissions go first, then we'll have information by our financial aid office, then our Office of Orientation and First Year Experience, our Coyote First Step program, and then we'll end the evening with a quick Q&A. And then we'll try to end at 6 o'clock promptly. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues in the admissions office. Please take it away.
Thank you, Jonathan. My name is Marissa Hernandez, and I'll be presenting to you. I'm an admissions counselor and recruiter for the main campus here at San Bernardino, and I'll allow my colleague to introduce herself.
Hi, big welcome to everyone who's joining us today. My name is Julie Kruger. I am the coordinator for our admissions office concerning processing and evaluations. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm very happy to be joining you guys today.
So one of the things that we are going to be talking about is that you need to activate your MyCoyote account. This is the most important and one of the first steps that you're going to be taking after you apply to our campus. So I know our application closed in February. So if you applied late, you would have received an acknowledgement email that we had received your application, and in it, it would have included your Coyote ID number. So if you have not yet activated your account, this is one of the first steps that you need to take. You will need that Coyote ID number to redeem your account. You would enter in your preferred name, your preferred last name, and your full date of birth. If you have any issues with activating your account, please give our office a call, because then we can help you in seeing what you possibly might have put a wrong birthday on your application, or you just didn't get your Coyote ID number, so we can give that to you. You would be accepting the policies of the university to use this account, and this is where you're going to be paying your financial aid. You'll get to see all of your tasks, you'll get to see your classes, your Blackboard, your email. So this is a very crucial step. Next slide, Jonathan, please. Thank you.
So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about official transcripts. We did have a document deadline for all of our transfer students and anyone who is applying to our pre-nursing or pre-allied health majors for February 15th. We are continuing to accept transcripts. So if you weren't able to make that deadline, we don't foresee taking any negative actions against you. Just get those documents in as quickly as possible. We absolutely prefer electronic transcripts sent directly from your institution, and that's simply because we are not on campus right now. So it is a little bit easier for us to process your electronic transcripts. If you do have to mail them though, you can send them to our main address at CSUSBAdmissions, 5500 University Parkway. And of course, we're located in San Bernardino. Our zip code or area code 92407. We also have drop boxes at both of our campuses. If you are going to the San Bernardino campus, we have a drop box outside of our University Hall location. And at Palm Deserts, it's right outside the George Gateway building. Okay.
So today, go ahead, Julie.
So today's topics that we're going to be going over, we already kind of looked at MyCoyote account, your student email, as well as transcripts. We will be talking about how to accept or decline your offer of admission, paying the enrollment confirmation deposit, the appeal process if for whatever reason you are denied admission, the enrollment deadlines, as well as other important reminders. Next slide, please. And I think we can go one more. There we go. Next slide. Okay, we are back on track. As we mentioned, our document deadline has passed, but please go ahead and send those documents in if you are a transfer student. If you are a first-time freshman, we are not requesting documents from you at this time. However, if you have SAT, AP, or IB, or CLEP scores, we do request that you send those in directly from the institution that you took the test from. Unfortunately, we cannot take scores from tests off of transcripts. So if you're a transfer student who's looking for that AP exam to be counted towards, say, your English class, you need to make sure that those AP scores come directly to us. If, for example, you have to establish residency, there will be to-do list items within your MyCoyote, and the deadline to turn those in was February 15th as well. But again, send them in as quickly as possible. And some of those items might include the California non-resident tuition exemption, or what we call the AB 540 form. And you can find all of more information about all of our residency on our website. Next slide.
So once you've been admitted, you'll be notified via email that you've been accepted into our campus for the major that you have declared.
I asked you to come here, Stephanie. You have to respect me enough to do that.
I'm sorry? So you would accept or decline your admission offer on your MyCoyote. There's a tile there that's available to you to accept your admission. And when you go into there, you would go, next slide, please, Jonathan, so I can show you all what it looks like. This is where you would go into accept. Once you start accepting your process, you have to pay your $100 enrollment confirmation deposit. And that's your deposit confirming that you are going to be attending our campus in the fall. This is non-transferable and non-refundable. So you can't decide, okay, I'm going to go to another university instead. I would like my $100 back. Unfortunately, we cannot give it back. So you would click on the Pay Your ECD Now tab, and it will take you over to the CashNet. And that's where you would actually go in to make your payment. Next slide, please. So here you will see the available items, and you would select the enrollment confirmation deposit, and that would be your $100 deposit at that time. And then you would put it into your cart and you would pay. Next slide, please. So once you make your enrollment confirmation deposit, then you'll be able to see it under your account. So make sure that you are logging onto your MyCoyote and you're clicking the My Financials icon, then click the payment. So this is if you have issues going through that step, if you're following the CashNet. If you have any issues, this is the second way that you can navigate the payment. You would read all of the notifications carefully. To click and your payment, you would click on there, and then you would find the enrollment confirmation deposit in the list, and that's where you would add it. And then still the $100 deposit. Next slide, please. You would add it into your basket, and then you would do the $100 for your checkout. And then you would be all confirmed that you're going to be attending in the fall.
So let's talk about our appeals process. We know that some students will be denied admission. It is an unfortunate side effect, but Cal State San Bernardino, as well as all CSUs, has admissions requirements. And so if we found that you don't meet them, we will send you a deny email. And in that email, there'll be a link for an appeal. If you believe that you have the admissions criteria that we are looking for, and there was some sort of mistake or miscalculation, we absolutely encourage you to use the appeal. You do have 15 days from the email notifying you of your denied decision. So it's really important that you continue to check both your personal and your MyCoyote emails so that you can make sure that you're notified of that denied decision and get onto that appeal as quickly as possible. Now, we do have 4 different reasons that we ask students to pick one from. These are just examples of why you might appeal your admission decision. Please don't spend any extra time worrying about picking exactly the right reason. These are just examples of reasons. And when we do process your appeal, we will give you the benefit of the doubt. And if you say picked credit not considered, but probably it's most considerate that you picked an impacted major, we'll go ahead and make that update and make that change and make that consideration for you. Next slide, please. We do want to make sure that you are very careful about submitting your appeal and that you include some sort of documentation or reasoning. Usually that means really understanding what admissions criteria you were missing and then explaining to us in detail why you have that admissions criteria and then providing documentation. 9 times out of 10, that documentation is going to be an official transcript. We need to make sure we have those on file before we can make a decision on your appeal. You do only have 1 appeal per term, so make sure you make it count by following the 15-day guideline, as well as getting your documentation in. If you have any questions about our appeal process, please go ahead and email us. We have a specific email set up for our appeals, and that's going to be admit2 CSUSB@csusb.edu. You can also find our appeal link if for some reason you're not finding the deny letter. You can also find our appeal link under our FAQs on our website in the What If I Don't Qualify section. And that's exactly what our appeal looks like. It's a great big blue button. Next slide.
Okay, so next is we're going to talk a little bit about what are your deadlines. So this already passed, but you want to make sure you get it in. If you have not yet, submit your financial aid application, which was due on March 2nd. Now, admissions decisions have started to go out, and we will continue to notify students of your acceptance through April. So once you get your acceptance, it's to pay your enrollment confirmation deposit and to accept your admissions offer. For transfer students, then you would want to make sure that you register for orientation by May 14th. For first-time freshman students, you want to make sure that you register for orientation by June 14th. And July 15th will be the deadline for everyone to submit your final official transcripts. So no work in progress, all of your grades have to be reported at that time. So other important reminders, make sure that you get into the habit of checking your MyCoyote and your CSUSB email. This is the campus official way of communication is by email. So if everything will be sent to you in that format. Most students will have admissions decisions out by April 1st. Don't miss any deadlines and you need to clear your hold. So if we're asking you for additional documentation for residency or for financial aid, make sure that you get that submitted as soon as possible. Take a campus tour, getting a feel of our campus. I know right now we're not physically open, but the capability of seeing our campus virtually is available to you. Remember that your admissions decision is not final until we receive your final transcripts and all of your documents. So you would have a conditional admission decision. And then lastly, CSUSB Admissions is available to help you. So please call our office or also email us at moreinfo.csusb.edu. I know that right now we're inundated with emails. So I am going to provide in the chat the link to our counselors, and you can see what counselors service your schools, and you can also see their email addresses. So you can email the counselor that works with your campus specifically. Next slide, please. And then lastly, we do have our Coyotes Next Steps workshops that are going to be coming up. So we have one this Thursday. To go ahead and take a screenshot of this or take a picture on your phone, but we have one coming up. And then we have another one that's going to be at the end of the month, which is March 22nd. So these are the different topics. Each one kind of has a specific agenda that we're going to be talking about. So this upcoming one is for housing. And then the following one would be for EOP admissions. So if you apply to EOP and you have some questions about that, that's definitely a good workshop that you would want to attend.
So it looks like we have a few raised hands and we have a little bit of time, so we'll jump into a couple of questions. Iris, if you want to go ahead and unmute and ask your question. And we are going to have to limit it to the 3 that have their raised hand function now.
So my question is, I'm a transfer student for fall 2021 from Norco College, and I remember I had a to-do list which asked for like I believe a transcript or something, or they were asking for a pre-evaluation because I'm an international student as well. And I
Okay.
sent the admissions through email, my unofficial like partial transcript. And then
Okay.
the to-do list became empty. But I believe you mentioned that we still have to submit an official partial one, or if it's
So-
empty, then I should not worry about it.
Yeah,
right
so
now.
as an international student, your deadlines are slightly different than those of domestic students because we do have to do a little additional work to evaluate those international documents. I would, off the top of my head, say that if it was removed from your to-do list, then you've satisfied that item. But if you'd like, go ahead and email our international admissions and just check in with them. If you haven't heard from them in a little while, dropping them an email wouldn't be a problem. And you can find their email address. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I can find it and put it in the chat later. Or you can just go onto our website and use the spyglass to look for international admissions.
Okay, so if it's off the to-do list, most likely it'll be fine, but I'll just clarify.
Yep,
Okay, thank you.
always good to clarify. The next student I have with a raised hand is Ariana.
Hi, I wanted to ask, do we receive our financial aid package or how much we'll be paying in tuition after we pay the enrollment confirmation deposit?
So I actually believe that we have a financial aid representative here today who's going to go over some details, and that's probably a more appropriate question to address to them directly. But it is going to be produced for you after you've been offered admission and after you've accepted that admission by paying the enrollment confirmation deposit. But we can talk about specific dates probably in their presentation.
So the admissions offer doesn't talk about how much we'll be paying?
No, it does not.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And last student I have here, and please forgive my pronunciation of names, but Janelle?
Oh, no, it's okay. I have a question. I paid my ECD, but I'm unable to register for orientation.
Okay, when did you make that payment? Was it fairly recently?
No, I'd say about 1 or 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And it was confirmed.
Good. What I'd like to do is go ahead and look into that for you. So if you can send us an email at admissions apps, so admissions with an S, APPS, and I believe that we're going to drop this email into the chat right now, but it's admissions apps is our kind of generic email for processing. And I'll go ahead and look into that for you and get some information back to you through email.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you everyone for your time. I did drop the outreach email, my email, admissions apps email. So if you have any further questions pertaining to admissions, please feel free to email us.
We're also going to stay in the presentation and try to answer some of the chat questions that came up during our presentation. So if you dropped us a question, just kind of be on the lookout for our answer there as well. Thank you so much for your time and energy today, and we turn it back over.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Veronica. I represent the Office of Financial Aid and Scholarship. We're located at University Hall, Building 150 at the main campus in San Bernardino. This is right now we're currently operating virtually on Monday through Friday between the hours of 8 to 5. Next slide, please. So what is the FAFSA? The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. This application is completed every year by visiting the fafsa.ed.gov website. The applications start being available for you to complete every year, October 1st, and the priority deadline for them to be completed is March 2nd. This priority deadline is used to determine eligibility for federal, state, and institutional aid, such as grants, work study, and other federal student loans. It is important for you to understand that once you complete your FAFSA for the period that you are enrolled in school, you do have to complete these FAFSAs every year. The one that we just completed starting October 1st, and which had the priority deadline of March 2nd, is going to be the one that we will be using effective July 1st of this year through June 30th of 2022. So it will be for fall 21 and spring 2022. Next slide. We also have the California Dream Act, which allows students that are eligible, California colleges and universities to apply for state financial aid. This application can be completed by visiting dreams at csac.ca.gov. The priority deadline is also March 2nd for this application. I'm going to go over the financial aid timeline and what to expect. So between October and March, students complete their financial aid and scholarships application to meet the priority deadline. That's when those applications are available for you to be completed. Between February and March, students are notified of any additional documents needed for process to financial aid. Currently, we're sending out any information. It was sent out February 18th was the first day that we started sending out emails for students that needed to submit documents to our office that were selected for verifications. Please look at your emails, check them, send those documents to our office. Since once those documents are received, we will go ahead and process them on our end through verifications, and that way you could see your award. In March, financial aid awarding begins for upcoming school year. So we're trying to process those applications as soon as possible so that you could start viewing your application by the end of this month. Between May and June, students at CSUSB scholarships recipients are notified and awarded. And I'm sorry for this typo here in this last bullet point. It is August. It's when financial aid disbursement begins, 10 days prior to the first day of class for fall semester. So that's when you will see your disbursement for the fall 2021 term. Let's go to the next one. So CSUSB financial aid quick tips. So what we strongly suggest is that you apply early each year for your FAFSA or California Dream. Remember, these applications open October 1st of every year. Priority deadline is March 2nd. That does not mean that the FAFSA application or the California Dream will close, but it does mean that you have to complete these applications to be eligible for some institutional and state aid as well as federal to have that priority deadline of March 2nd. Applications are available beginning every October 1st and priority deadline is March 2nd. The CSUSB scholarships open on December 1st and close also on March 2nd of each year. It is important for you to check MyCoyote email and your student portal often for any official information and review any holds and any to-dos. Any pending items that are needed, even if you receive, you submitted your documents to our office for verifications, please allow us about 2 weeks for us to process them. If it's been over 2 weeks, definitely reach out to our office. I will drop our email where you could email us. You could definitely send us an email inquiry, and I'm also going to drop my email with your Coyote ID, and we could look up your account and see what's going on your status of your application. For the disbursement aid, if aid does not cover all of your fees, you are responsible for paying the balance by the due date to avoid being dropped from any from the term or any classes. Most disbursements occur 10 days before the first day of class of each semester, as long as you don't have any hold or no other pending items are pending on your to-dos. You are encouraged to set up for direct deposit, since this way you would receive, if you have any excess money, your refund much faster. Disbursement aid is credited to each student's account. If there is a remaining fund, a refund will be sent to you either via direct deposit or mail. Please allow 5 to 10 working days to receive your refund. It is important, I know they asked a question about knowing if you would have any balance owed. Just keep in mind that you will be sent out, the charges on your student account will be placed on your student account, and any anticipated aid would show how much you would receive in financial aid. As long as your anticipated aid is more than what your charges are, you will be covered. If you do see that you have a shortage, that is the remaining balance that you would have to pay out of pocket before that deadline in order to avoid being dropped from any of your classes. We're gonna go over student loan information. So loan borrowers must accept their loan on MyCoyote portal every academic year. First-time loan borrowers at CSUSB must complete a master promissory note known as an MPN and complete a loan entrance counseling at studentloans.gov. If you previously borrowed at a different campus, you will still need to complete this MPN one time at our school, and then every year you just need to accept your loan. You won't need to complete an MPN after that. Next slide. So this is the financial aid resources. So free applications for federal student aid would be under FAFSA.ed.gov. The California DREAM application, you can locate that at dream.csac.ca.gov. Any questions if you want to know how much you borrowed, if how much is your aggregate limit, if you've already used your Cal Grant lifetime use or your Pell Grant lifetime use, you could go to studentaid.gov and see that as well as your National Student Loan Database. Also for CSAC and web grants such as Cal Grant Middle Class Scholarship and the Chafee Grant, those could be, information could be obtained by going to mygrantinfo@csac.ca.gov. Our federal school code for your FAFSA and your California DREAM Act application is 001142. These are future presentations that we will be having as part of our process through the Coyote Next Step. So our next one will be learn about the 50-20-30 budget plan. That will be on March 2nd. So please register for that if you're interested in learning on a little bit more on how to budget. Understanding your credit score, it was going to be April 7th. The two most important ones that I know that have been on high demand, that's why we decided to have 2 sessions, are understanding your CSUSB financial aid package, which would be once your financial aid award is issued to you, what you received, how to interpret what you received, whether how much of what you received would be enough to cover your financial aid, how much of it is grants, how much is student loans. This is what we'll go over, these understanding your CSUSB financial aid package. We'll have 2 sessions, one on March 16th and one on April 6th. So please register for these sessions so that we could go ahead and present a little bit more information and understanding as to what is your financial aid award. With that, we conclude our presentation today. This is my information. This is my email. I will also drop our general email on the chat box, and then we'll go ahead and I'll answer some of the questions that we've had on the financial aid chat. And then at the end of the Q&A, we'll go ahead and open the forum for any additional questions. Thank you, Jonathan.
All right, good afternoon or evening, everybody. My name is Santa Claus, and I am here. Oh, wait, no, that's not my name. My name is Brian Willis. I am the director of our Orientation and First Year Experience Office here at Cal State San Bernardino. What I'd like everybody to do is to take a deep breath. Take a deep breath, because there's been a lot of information. And guess what? I've got some information for you as well. But I've seen in the chat, people are asking questions about orientation. Very, very excited that you are all going to be coming here to Cal State. So Jonathan, next slide. So I'm going to talk about orientation, what to expect, how to register. I'll go over that, and then all kinds of other information. So what is orientation? It's pretty self-explanatory. It is our program here at Cal State San Bernardino and at the Palm Desert campus that we introduce you to the campus. And so once you get admitted and you pay your enrollment confirmation deposit, obviously we've already talked about your next step is to register for orientation, and I'll talk about that for a minute. Orientation is required, so it's a mandatory program. All transfers and all first-year students must attend orientation. But our goals is really just to make sure that you feel welcomed, especially in this virtual environment. You understand campus resources. The biggest thing is at orientation, you will receive academic advising, and then you will also be advised onto what classes you need to enroll in. And so then that way you will be prepared for fall term. So orientation is super important, and I'll talk to you a little bit about the structure of orientation. So next slide, Jonathan. All right, so this year, orientation is going to be online and virtual only. So we will not be having you come to campus, and we are very sad about that because we love to see all your smiling faces. But this year we have created a orientation experience for you all. And so there are 3 components to orientation. One is this pre-orientation, which will be sent to your MyCoyote email account. So again, Marissa was very adamant to make sure you check your email. Once you pay your confirmation deposit, once you enroll or for your live webinar date, you will get your pre-orientation. And so that will be sent to you. That is a do at your own pace module. There's videos, there's lots of great information in there. It's interactive. And so we're trying to make sure that you kind of come prepared for the live webinar. The live webinar is the actual date of which you will register for your orientation, and that will be a live interactive, very much like this. We have presenters, we'll have our academic advisors and college advisors there to help you understand what classes you need to take. We talk about some other things. We have some peer leaders that wanna give you some great advice as you transition into the university. But the live webinar is what is important for you to register. And so you will register through your MyCoyote account. So again, we talked about that. Very important that you activate your MyCoyote. And then there you'll see a little box that says My Tasks. So in that box, you'll hit that box and then it'll say register for orientation. The other thing that you'll find under My Task, which is again part of your MyCoyote, is your to-do list. And it'll also show all your holds. And so it's also very important that you, again, try and learn how to navigate the system. I know it's all brand new for all of you, but MyCoyote, My Tasks, and then that's where you'll register for orientation. You'll see what kind of holds you have on your account, if any, and then your to-do list will be there as well. So I just want to reiterate, live webinar is the date that you're going to choose on top of that. And then in the fall, we'll have some programming for you as well as you transition, making sure that you feel welcome, you start making great connections, and really help you navigate the institution. So just again, really, we keep saying this $100 enrollment confirmation deposit. You cannot register for orientation until you pay that deposit. If you pay that deposit today, you won't be able to register for orientation until 24 hours after you pay. So if you pay at like 8 o'clock in the morning, you'll still have to wait 24 hours so the system can catch up. So next slide, Jonathan. All right, so I'm gonna talk a little bit to our transfer students that are here about transfer orientation, then I'll talk to our first year students, and then if there are any parents on the line, we will talk to you as well. So we've got you all covered. So transfer orientation, your live webinar obviously is required, as I had said. There are gonna be about 3,000 new transfer students starting in the fall. So you can imagine it's a big to-do to get all of you through orientation. The registration system is now open. So again, if you have, I already saw in the chat, many of you have already got your orientation date. That's great. There's already, I believe, over 200 students that have already chosen their orientation dates, which is great. There is an orientation fee. So you'll see there's a fee of $77.47. And that is paid with your fall tuition. So you don't have to pay anything up front. You don't pay in advance. You don't pay the day of. It will be part of your fall bill. For many of you, if you receive financial aid, for most students, their financial aid will end up covering the orientation fee. So for many of you, it's not even an out of pocket cost because your financial aid will cover that. Now comes the fun stuff, all the dates. So you will see plenty dates. And again, a lot of this information is also on our webpage, so I'll stress that now. So if there's anything, if you didn't take the picture, if I go too fast, you can always refer to our webpage. But our first session is in April. So for many of you transfer students, you are still finishing up your semester, your community college. But we're starting early because registration for transfer students starts earlier than for our first year students. And so depending on, so the first 2 sessions or the first 2 dates, so the Wednesday and the Thursday date, you'll see colleges. So based on what your major is, you can sign up to a college-specific orientation session. So arts and letters, so if you're an English major, world language major, Arts and Letters is your college. And so on our webpage, it talks about all the colleges and what major is assigned to each college. Saturday, May 1st, you could be in any college and sign up for that date. So it's not college specific. And so you'll see that there's some college and non-college specific dates. The one thing, as I said, because this is required and you need to be there the whole time. So we take attendance at orientation. If you don't finish orientation, you do not get your hold removed. So that means you cannot register for classes. So for some of my transfer students, if you're working all day or if you have class, please pick a day that does not conflict with class or work. So for some of you, that may be the Saturday date. And we have another Saturday date as well. So those are some of the dates we've got starting in April. You can see then we go into May. Jonathan, next slide, please. We got more in May, another Saturday date in May, and then our last session is May 27th. Each session, we have about 300 to 350 students per session, so we have enough sessions for all of our students to attend. If you happen to be going to the Palm Desert campus, those are the dates for our Palm Desert campus. So when you go to register for orientation, you pick the campus of which you were admitted to. So Palm Desert campus has different orientation dates. Those are listed there as well. They have a Saturday date, and those are all colleges. So they don't do theirs by college specific ones. So those are those dates. And of course, in big red highlighted, your registration deadline is May 15th. So you need to be in a orientation session by May 15th. Next slide. All right, so now we're going to talk about all of our students coming from our high schools, which is our first year students. So again, required for you, the webinar part, everybody will get the pre-orientation sent to them. We've got a little less than, about 2,500 students coming as our first year students. Some of the questions you had is, I paid my enrollment confirmation, but I couldn't enroll for orientation. If you're a first year student, that is because the registration has not opened for you. So registration opens in April for our first year students or our high school students are coming into Cal State San Bernardino. So hold tight, you will get an email once the system is open. And the reason why we kind of stagger it is because our transfer orientations start earlier than our first year students. So if you look at the dates for our orientation for our first year students, they don't start till June. So your orientation is a little bit later in the summer. The fee is the same for both transfers and first year students. And then for our first year students, also we don't do it by college. You can be any major and pick any of the dates. Next slide. And then those are the Palm Desert camps. You can push the button again because the little thing will do some fun stuff. So Palm Desert campus, they have 3 orientation dates for you to choose from. And again, pick accordingly with any work schedules that you might have or anything that doesn't conflict with that. And then your registration deadline is June 14th by 5 p.m. So next slide. So if I have any parents out there, or if you are a first year student, we do have an optional parent and family orientation for your parents to attend. They would register. So if you registered as a first year student coming from high school, if you register for orientation, I'll ask you if you want your parents to register for orientation as well. There's no cost for your parents to attend orientation. And we offer it in both English and in Spanish. So if English is not your first language, or if your parents are just more comfortable speaking in Spanish, or your grandmother or your aunt and uncle, we offer it in both English and Spanish. Parent orientation is divided into 4 topics. And so you can see the 4 topics there. We cover financial aid, academic success, which is academic advising, campus resources, and then how they can support you as a first year student into Cal State San Bernardino. Next slide. Those are the dates. And again, those are all on our webpage. But you can see each date is specific to a topic. So Thursday, June 24th, they're just talking about financing college and helping your parents understand, again, some of the resources that are available so that they can help you navigate the finance process and all the other topics that are covered, campus resources, academic success, and all of that. Down on the bottom, there are 2 dates for our Palm Desert students. Tuesday, June 22nd will be the English version, and then Wednesday, June 23rd will be for our Spanish-speaking folks that would want to participate. So talk to your parents, see if they're interested. Again, this year there's no cost to it because we're doing it all virtual, but we found that, again, parents are very supportive and want you to succeed just as much as we do through all of this. So next slide. So just as I wrap up, some things just to kind of go over one more time. Orientation is mandatory. All new students need to attend orientation. If you don't attend orientation, you do not pass go, you do not collect $200, you do not register for classes. And so making sure that you get your orientation date as soon as you can. Tell all your friends to register for orientation. That way they don't miss out on all that important information. You have to sign up for the live webinar. I went over that. So there is a hold on your account. So you cannot, like I said, you cannot register for classes until that hold is removed. And that hold is removed after you attend the live webinar. Couple things. So as a first-year student or a first-year freshman or a transfer, you will pick appropriate dates. And again, you have to pick the date, the campus of which you will be attending. So whether it's the San Bernardino campus or the Palm Desert campus. Check your email. There's always great information about things that need to go on. And I think that's all I need to talk about because I've said it like 500 times about what you need to do. This is just some information, our webpage that you can get more information, our phone number you can always call, but email is best. So I would highlight orientation@csusb.edu. If you have any questions or any problems, don't hesitate to email us. We have friendly students waiting to answer your emails. So, and then I'm sure we'll answer some more questions that may have come up in the chat or at the end of the presentation. So thank you all. And now you can breathe again, all that information.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Brian. Great info as always, but definitely overwhelming. So everyone, like Brian said, take that breath. My name is Aurora Vilchis. My pronouns are she and her, and I am so excited to welcome all of you to CSUSB. So I am specifically going to speak about our Early Start and Coyote First Step programs at CSUSB. And I apologize to all of our transfer students because this is applicable for only our first year students coming from high school. So if you're a parent of a first year student coming from high school or a student, this info is for you. So what is Early Start and Coyote First Step? So Early Start is a CSU system-wide program that occurs at every single one of the 23 Cal States. So maybe you have a friend that's going to a different campus. Everyone could potentially receive information about this, but it's specific for students who have been academically placed based on the CSU academic preparation policy for support in English and math, our two favorite subjects. So how do you know if you need to do this? It is an invitation-only program, so you will receive information. The process is slowly occurring, so it's not going to happen today or tomorrow, and you haven't missed out on anything yet if this does not sound familiar. I'm going to throw in the chat a CSU website. So this is the CSUstudentsuccess.org website. Really good, helpful information, especially if you know anybody, still in high school and thinking about applying to CSU, to think about their academic preparation. What does it mean to be academically prepared for college? So we look at a couple of areas that are called multiple measures. And in normal years, pre-COVID, right, this would include if you had taken the SAT or the ACT, or if you took the SBAC, the Smarter Balance Assessment in high school, the state exam, all of those things would be included in what we look at. This year, if you do not have those exams, obviously for admissions, it does not matter. So it does not count or won't be used if you don't have it. So don't worry about it. If you did happen to do the SAT or ACT, we can still use your score if you submitted it. Again, not required, no big deal. But when you go to this website, the CSUStudentSuccess.org, it will talk about the placement exam, talk about the standardized assessment exams, excuse me. So there's a placement estimator that says, try the math and English placement estimator. I would encourage you to go through those steps and determine if you are a student who has been recommended to participate in any of our summer programs. That's for those of you who want to know right now. So go to that website, great info there. But really what we're looking at, and this is going to be really important for those of you who have declared a STEM major. So any of the hard sciences, chemistry, biology, biochemistry, maybe you're doing pre-nursing. A lot of those are very math intensive majors. And so Coyote First Step is a kind of the same thing as Early Start, but specifically for the math portion. So it is a summer intensive math program. STEP is an acronym for Student Transition Enrichment Program. So it's really to support you in this transition, right? You're leaving high school, you're going to enter college, and what does that all mean? What are some things that you would benefit from? And so we have some awesome services and support to provide students who participate in this program. So you take a math class and you earn academic credit. This summer program is free for all of the students who are coming to Cal State San Bernardino in the fall. So maybe summer school doesn't sound so appealing to you, but does free academic college credit sound appealing? That might be a little bit better to speak about it in that way. So, you have to earn your units to earn your degree. These are going to be free units you can earn in the summer. So if you get invited, I really encourage you to take advantage of this opportunity. So the image that you're looking here at on your screen is our invitation postcard to Coyote First Step. And this is actually what you will receive in the mail. We're going to email you, of course, if you're invited, but we're also going to send you a postcard, that good old snail mail, so you can be excited to check out the mailbox. There's a QR code that will take you to our website so you can learn more about the program. And I'm going to throw that information in the chat as well. It's the email, our phone number, and the website, and follow us on social media as well. So you can get some updates about just CSUSB and the undergraduate studies programs that are being offered when you join us in the fall. So hopefully you are excited to come to CSUSB and eager to join us earlier and getting a head start in the summer if you are invited to this program. And that is all I have from me.
Awesome. Thank you so much to everyone that spoke today, to all our speakers, and to every single one of our offices. So we are excited to continue to offer Coyotes Connect programming as you continue to explore your options of where you're going in the fall. Hopefully it's here. But we will have a housing session on March 15th from 6:30 to 7:30. Like Veronica had shared in her presentation, on March 16th, we're doing a presentation about understanding your CSUSB financial aid. And then that is where she's going to talk about the actual financial aid package that you receive from CSUSB. We're going to learn about a 50-20-30 budget plan on the 17th from 5 to 6. And then a second session for understanding your CSUSB financial aid package. Again, that's the exact same session as the first one, just giving you preference of which one you want to sign up for. And then we're also doing an understanding your credit score on April 7th. And then our last housing session will be on April 8th. And again, that is the same one that's happening on March 15th, just giving you more options. So now I will open it up to our Q&A for our last 5 minutes together. If you have any questions, if you can please use the raise hand feature under the reactions button, or if you can put the questions in the chat, and then we will open it up to questions and have them answered by my colleagues here. All right. So Caitlin, please go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Well, hello, good afternoon. I was wondering on my Coyote, I noticed that on my to-do list, it said that my transfer paper or the request for transfer was initiated. Did the school like do it on behalf of myself, or was I supposed to send it?
So Caitlin, I think you're describing on your to-do list, there's a request for a transcript and that item is initiated on your to-do list?
Yes.
That means that we initiated I'm trying to explain our lingo in a more understandable way, but it means that we have not received it yet. It means that we initiated the request from you to go get it for us. A couple of things could be happening. If you've already contacted your college and had them send us a document, it could be in our backlog. It takes us about 2 weeks to process any documents that we've received. And that won't go from initiated to complete until we've actually had a chance to process your document. So it could be here and we're just trying to get to it. But if you haven't contacted your college yet, you would need to do so because there is no automated process for us to do that. For privacy reasons, they won't release documents to us. They will only release them if you make that request for us.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Thank you, Caitlin, for that question. If you can lower your hand. And then will there be another university honors program session? Unfortunately, no, but we are going to make those recordings available on our Coyotes Connect website. So I will share that shortly in the chat, and you can watch both of those recordings on our Coyotes Connect website. We have one for financial aid. I sent in, oh, it looks like she just answered it, right? Yes. Thank you, Veronica, you answered the question. Are there any other questions for us?
Jonathan, somebody asked about what is the Palm Desert campus earlier in the chat, and I don't know if anybody explained. So we are one university, so California State University, San Bernardino, but we actually have 2 separate locations. Most everybody knows our San Bernardino campus location in North San Bernardino. But out in the Coachella Valley, there is a campus called the Palm Desert campus, and it is located in Palm Desert. So many students that live out in the Coachella Valley area, and if their major is out here, tend to go to school out here. It's a little bit shorter commute for them, and they still get the same requirements and degrees if your major is hosted out here. So for some students, it should have popped up when you applied, but if it didn't, you can always talk to somebody at admissions if you'd like to change your destination of what campus you want to go to. But there are 2 locations for the San Bernardino, Cal State San Bernardino.
Awesome. And Brian, I have another question for you. So stay put. Okay, so my major is information and systems and technology and cybersecurity. So which orientation meeting would I know to join? Like, would there be a specific category it would be under?
So that's in the College of Business. So you can either go to the College of Business only section orientation, or you can go to the all college, pick one of the dates for the all college. It does not matter because during orientation, we will break you down when you meet with your colleges and talk about academic advising. I believe the College of Business breaks you down by department. So they will talk to you just as that, because that is your major, they will talk to you specifically about what you need to do to meet their degree requirements for that major. So really all you need to do is pick either the date that if you're a transfer student that's specific to College of Business or any of the all college sessions, and we will get you the information you need.
And then I have a question about payment for orientation. So since we have to pay for orientation, Will it be covered by financial aid? How will that work? And how do we direct that money to that purpose?
Veronica.
Veronica, do you want to help with that?
Yeah, so my understanding is because it becomes part of your, because orientation is added to your fall tuition, obviously there's a priority of how your financial aid is awarded. So obviously tuition and fees are the very first thing that's covered. And so if you have enough financial aid or you've been awarded more than that covers your tuition and fees, those dollars can be directed to cover any other fees.
That is correct, Brian. You explained it properly. Yes, that is correct. So if you have excess money left over in your financial aid, yes, that could be used to cover that. However, if you don't and you are short, that would be out of your pocket, and that would be something that you would have to pay out of your pocket. But you got it on, you nailed it. Thank you.
Awesome. So we are going to take this last question from Kaylee. I hope I'm saying your name correct. And then any other questions, we will email you back. I will take note in the chat and make sure that your question get asked. So Kaylee, do you want to unmute yourself and go ahead and ask your question?
Yeah, thank you. I noticed somebody else asked this question too, though. I had received financial aid when going to community college several years ago and exhausted everything I got. So I'm under the assumption that, does that mean it's exhausted for good? Or if you transfer to a university, is it worth applying for financial aid again?
So if you exhausted your Pell eligibility, which is your lifetime use is 600%. So if you've already used all your eligibility for Pell Grant, which is your Pell through your FAFSA, it doesn't reset it again at the university. You're done with that and you're no longer eligible for, then you're all set for that. You won't be eligible for any additional. However, if you haven't used all of your student loans and you still have eligibility as far as your aggregate limits on your student loans, that would be totally separate. That would be your student loans. You probably still have more student loan money available for you.
On that note, I'm trying to not take student loans out, at least for finishing my bachelor's, and have been saving money. So for budgeting purposes, what is the average cost out of pocket for a 12-unit semester at Cal State San Bernardino?
Okay, so I did send you the link for tuition and cost already.
I must have.
Yes, I sent you the link. Let me open it. Tuition cost, because I know I did answer your question.
So we don't get financial aid if we used it up from community college, right?
If you already used up your lifetime use for Pell Grant eligibility, which is 600%, which is the equivalent to 6 years, it doesn't reset. You've exhausted the lifetime use of it.
Okay, so it's not, and when I go in the university of 2021, I can't get financial aid even if I apply, if it's possible.
If you've exhausted 6 years, no, it doesn't reset. That's the lifetime use, whether you used it at a community or university level. Yeah. So for a 12 unit, I'm going to give you an example for this spring. For 12 units, the cost was $3,000. Let me see. It's spring 2021. Was $3,483 with 43 cents. That's tuition and fees.
Oh, great. That's way less than I was expecting.
Yeah. And if you're enrolled in anywhere from 1 to 6 units or less, it would be $2,277.43.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry, Veronica. Yes, like I sent you that email, and I'm sorry for everybody else I interrupt, but my name is Brittany. So I sent you an email. I did my community college, but I just want to make sure, now I'm kind of getting nervous. So that's all I wanted to know.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All righty, Brittany. Bye-bye.
Awesome. All righty. So thank you all so much. Again, I'm going to save the chat, and then any questions that we weren't able to answer, I will email our individual presenters today and get those questions answered for you. So thank you all so much for joining us this evening. And I hope you have a great rest of your evening and happy rest of your week. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.